Hello everyone, this is part 24 of What If Naruto Was the Child of the Moon in Percy Jackson, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
URP. Naruto and Grover burped as they gobbled up the food that they ordered from the snack bar. It was a good thing though that the stall served food for Grover to eat, or else he would just be digging into French fries, milkshakes, and soda cans. Luna lay happily on the ground tearing on a piece of meat that Naruto gave her. As they ate, Zoe, Bianca, and Talia came to them, walking to them. The pup even looked up happily from her meal to wag her tail and bark happily. "You guys hungry?" Naruto asked with his mouth still full. "We are," Zoe answered, setting her things on the table. "We better eat while we still can." "Hey, where's Percy?" Grover asked, noticing the distinct lack of the water boy. "Beats me," Talia shrugged. "He said he heard a cow." "Say what now?" Grover and Naruto did a double take. "Hey, it's true," Talia insisted. "Tell him, Bianca." "Well, that is what he was talking about," the young demigod confirmed. "I will never understand that water boy," Naruto shook his head. As they sat down waiting for Percy, they couldn't help but notice that there was a commotion going on from the main part of the park. "How much do you wanna bet that Percy's involved there?" Naruto said. "We can't catch a break, can we?" Talia sighed. "We should split up to look for him," Zoe said. "We meet up at the golden statues if we don't find him." Right. Everyone agreed and they were on their way. With Naruto, the blonde was looking around for his brother. Luna wanted to go with him, but he decided to let her look after Talia for him, much to the protest of the girl. She said she was big enough to look after herself. Despite her reaction, she appreciated the gesture. Anyway, here he was passing a whole lot of people and none of them were Percy. They seemed to be running away from something. There was a kid who was crying and sobbing something about a skeleton. "This can't be good," Naruto muttered to himself. "His face," the kid said in fear. It was like Halloween." "They're here," he said, picking up the pace. He bolted through the park and towards the museum. He had a feeling that his brother came this way. While he made a dash, he ran into one of the park rangers. He stopped her and said, have you seen a boy about my height with black hair and sea green eyes?" The ranger's eyes fixated on the blonde. One striking feature on her face were her eyes. They were startling gray, like storm clouds. His mind went a million miles an hour to think where he had seen him before, but he was brought out of his thoughts by the ranger's answer. "Oh, he joined the tour group," she answered, pointing at the elevator. "He was looking for the snack bar." "Odd guy, looking for the snack bar down below." Naruto bowed and dashed towards the elevator. Waiting for the door, his mind wandered back to the woman he talked to. "Hey, yo." He was cut off when he saw that the woman was no longer there. He didn't get any more time to look for her further because the elevator bell dinged, signaling the car's arrival. He got into the car and waited for it to reach its destination. Without anything else to do, Naruto's mind began to realize, what was he thinking trapping himself down here? Ding. The doors opened and Naruto found himself on a hallway that seemed to carved of solid rock. The walls were moist, and the air hummed with electricity. Dashing through, he came into a U-shaped balcony that overlooked a massive warehouse area. Down below, the turbines were churning. There were no exits, so Percy couldn't have gone far. Naruto wandered across tour groups listening to guide who was telling the students about water supplies in Nevada, and naturally there was no sign of the water boy. That was until he heard a yelp coming from one corner. He made a break for the sound. It was Percy, all right. He had riptide drawn and he had sliced a girl with the sword. Naturally, with the blade being made of celestial bronze, the sword had ignored her. "What are you doing?" Naruto screamed at the boy. "Yeah, what are you doing?" the girl added. "Do you always kill people when they sneeze?" Percy had a stupid look on his face as he ogled the girl. "You're mortal," he said, the events still not processing in his mind. "Yes, Percy. We've established that," Naruto said, walking to the girl to check her out. "Are you okay, miss?" he asked. "I don't know about your friend here, but I'll be fine," the girl answered. "What's with the sword anyway? It didn't even hurt me." "You can see the sword." Naruto raised an eyebrow. Well, it's either a giant toothpick or a sword, you take your pick, the girl rolled her eyes. Of course, I see a sword. Although, what's troubling me is why it didn't hurt me, not that I'm complaining. And who are you people? And is that jacket made of lion's fur? Man, that girl had a lot of questions. Oh, and who was this girl? We'll get to that later, but she was a tall girl with red frizzy hair and a nose that turned red due to her freckles. She was wearing a Harvard sweatshirt and jeans that were covered in marker stains and holes like she spent her free time poking them with a fork. Before Naruto could answer any of the redhead's questions, Percy suddenly cleared his throat and snapped his fingers out of nowhere. You don't see a sword. You see a ballpoint pen. Naruto and the redhead deadpanned at the water boy. Again, Percy, what are you doing? Naruto asked. With that being said, Percy shook himself free from the shock he had been in. Oh, Naruto, he spoke. Quick, the skeletons are here. Can you two please explain to me what's happening? The girl said. It was then that the familiar clattering and hissing of the skeletons came from behind them. It was a skeleton warrior disguised as security, and this time he wasn't alone. Naruto sprang into action quickly before the warriors could even react. He kicked the skull of one warrior away, causing it to fly over the edge. The body broke down to pieces as soon as the head flew away. He, then, twisted in the air and slammed a Rasengan onto the ribcage of another. Percy, who had to play catch up, took down the last one with a slice of his sword. Whoa, the redhead said with her mouth hanging open. You took care of those skeletons. Percy completed her sentence. You can see them and the sword. Just what are you? Naruto asked, earning an offended glare from the redhead. Don't you mean, who are you? She huffed indignantly. I am Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Red. Ha. Naruto hummed in thought. The name suits you. The now named Rachel narrowed her eyes, but not without blushing at the two boys' stares. Thank you. Now you answer my questions. Who are you two? I'm Percy, and this is Naruto. Percy introduced them. He was about to explain, but Naruto elbowed his adopted brother and gestured his head towards the skeletons behind them. They were beginning to stir, reforming bone by bone. Naruto looked at Rachel, keeping the calm on his face and placing a hand on her shoulder. Look here, Red, it's best if you forget you saw us for the sake of your sanity. You better get out of here too, Percy nodded. Those skeletons might ignore you, but just to be safe. But, Rachel tried to protest, but the boys were already running away, the skeletons almost fully formed. With the others. So did you really see a cow here? Naruto asked as they waited in the elevator on the way towards the meeting spot that the rest of them talked about earlier. Percy nodded. But it's not the sea cow you would see in an encyclopedia. It's more of what you would see in an episode of SpongeBob. Are you sure you weren't imagining things? Naruto thought as the elevator dinged, signaling their arrival to the surface. I swear I saw it. Percy insisted. Naruto didn't get to come up with a response as they made it to the cafeteria area. It was pure carnage. Kids were throwing food all around the room. Skeletons lay on the floor like they were caught up in the chaos of the food fight, while two groups guarded the exits to Nevada and Arizona. Piles of bones that looked like they were chewed on lay there. There was even a pile of ash on the ground. Naruto could make a guess on who was responsible for that. Spotting the two boys, the guards left their posts and ran towards their targets. Naruto spotted this and told Percy to run towards the meeting place. Right behind them, the skeletons tried to aim at him, but they couldn't get a clear shot with everything happening around them. Here, Talia called out to the two boys who were running towards them. They're not dying, Zoe exclaimed as she knocked another arrow. I can kill another, Bianca offered. Maybe I can get lucky. They're getting wary of you now, Zoe argued back. I will not let you risk yourself again. Well, it's nice adventuring with you guys, Grover said, lamenting their fates. Don't give up just yet, Percy said, reaching the area. Why aren't we running, though? Look, it's a dead end. Talia pointed over to the edge. There's no road. The skeletons slowed now. They were taking their time since they knew that their prey wasn't going anywhere. Zoe and Naruto kept knocking them down with their projectiles, but they just reformed and got back on their feet. Luna scattered another skeleton warrior and bit on its bone. These once surprisingly not forming bit by bit, but that still left a lot of skeletons to outnumber them. 6 to 15. What do we do? Zoe muttered. I am open to any suggestion. It was then that the idea struck Naruto. You said the statues were a gift to your dad, right? He blurted out. Yeah. So, Talia said after blasting another skeleton with lightning. Try praying to him, Naruto suggested. There's no use, Talia argued. He never answers. Hey, it's worth a shot, isn't it? Naruto sent her a reassuring smile. What have we got to lose? Talia closed her eyes. Her lips moved in silent prayer. The skeletons were now upon them. Those with guns trained their weapons at them while those with batons hefted their weapons. One even grabbed Bianca and aimed its weapon at her head, daring her to do something. Luna growled at the attackers, but Naruto reeled her in for fear that they would fire as soon as she pounced. For a scary moment, nothing happened. It was hopeless. But then, help arrived just in time. Just as the skeletons opened fire, a shadow flew over our heroes and raised its wings to deflect the bullets. Even Luna was surprised, causing her to jump into her master's arms. It's so good to walk again. The owner of the wings, who looked like an angel, said. Holy Zeus, my toes. What were they thinking? Before the skeletons could react, two more of those angel things swooped behind them and broke them to their feet. One of them raised her head and spotted Talia. Hey. It's Zeus, kid. His two companions turned and widened their eyes after seeing the girl. Well, what do you know? They said, surrounding her. No time, they're coming back. Talia said. Get us out of here. That's no way to ask a favor, little miss, one the angels said. Can I get a please? Please. Talia screamed frantically. They looked at each other and shrugged. Let's get cracking, boys. The angel that seemed to be the leader said. It feels good to stretch my wings. Another decided. What are we waiting for? The last one added. The angels grabbed our heroes two at a time. First, Naruto and Talia, Bianca and Zoe, and then Percy and Grover. They raised their wings, and before anyone knew it, they were in the air, much to the ire of a pale daughter of Zeus trying to cover her eyes. On the other hand, Luna was enjoying this. She wasn't scared at all. She stuck her tongue out and enjoyed the wind striking her face. Tell me when we're on the ground, Talia said, covering her eyes with both hands. Come on. It's gonna be fine, Naruto said. Live a little. Not a chance, Talia snapped. Say a hi. We don't do that kind of stuff, Naruto joked. I'm serious, Talia insisted. Well, we're not that high, Naruto answered, scraping the snowy mountain top with his shoes. Are you sure? Talia asked. On second thought, I'm not taking any chances. Don't you trust me? Naruto asked. Well, her voice trailed off. She separated her fingers and took a peek first. Naruto was right. They were flying just above the mountain tops, giving Talia the false sense of security of floating just above the ground. She slowly lowered her hands to take in the view. Naruto took one of her hands and held it tight, sending her the signal that everything was going to be okay. She appreciated this and returned the gesture despite her shaky hands. I can show you the world, the angel carrying him chimed in. Shining, shimmering splee. These are the Sierras, Zoe yelled over the wind, disrupting the mood. I have hunted here before. At this rate, we will make it to San Francisco in a few hours. Perfect, I have to meet Nereus somewhere there. Percy added. The old sea god. Naruto asked. Who told you? Fred, I mean Apollo told me the night on the train, Percy explained. He said he would know things that were hidden from the Oracle, herself. Or something like that. How? Convenient we find Nereus in the city we are targeting, Talia added with a shaky breath. That just makes things easier, right? Naruto chuckled. Hear that, Chuck? The angel carrying Naruto and Talia told his fellow angels. We could visit those guys at the Mechanics Monument again. We are so there. The angel carrying Grover and Percy, who he called Chuck, yelled back. You guys have been there? Percy asked in mild shock. Hey, as the blondie said, even we automatons have to live a little, Chuck answered. Don't tell me we can visit those marble lady statues over at the Young Museum, and the statue carrying Zoe and Bianca began to say, but he stopped when he noticed Bianca blush. Frank, Naruto and Talia's angel told him off. We have kids here. Right, sorry Hank, Frank said. Back to flying. Answer, they continued flying. Naruto asked Talia if she could fly since Percy could swim and breathe underwater, but she said she never even tried. Naruto suggested that she could try it right now, but Talia adamantly refused. Later, The mountain ranges fell away into hills, and then to farmlands, until they eventually made it to the scenery of towns and highways. Once the mountains disappeared, Talia's grip tightened on Naruto's hand, but Naruto once again reassured her. Nevertheless, she enjoyed the breathtaking view. Normally, on the ground, you wouldn't think twice about these kinds of things, but seeing it from a different point of view, things are so much different. Once they passed by the first target billboard, Zoe shot an arrow and hit it dead center. She was surprised though when a kunai knife sprouted beside her arrow. She instantly knew who it belonged to. Zoe looked at Naruto challengingly. It had been a while since she had a challenge like this, so she challenged the boy to a marksmanship challenge with a bow and arrow. Naruto scratched the back of his head saying he left the bow that Artemis had given him since it wasn't his style. Zoe rolled his eyes at him and told him that if he really was Artemis's son, he should have given this weapon a try. Bianca, though, wanting to see the contest, lent Naruto her bow and arrows and carried Luna for him. From then on, every target billboard became a target for their contest, and for a while, it seemed like the both of them would never miss. At some point in the contest, Percy brought up the topic about that weird girl that he and Naruto met at the dam. Naruto added that he would have sliced her in half had Percy been using a normal sword. Percy adamantly protested that the skeletons had made him paranoid. Talia told them that some mortals were like that and no one knows why. That topic made the two adopted brothers think of their mom. It was no wonder she knew what to do about Percy's predicament. She could see the monsters that were on the sidelines waiting to pounce on the water boy when they had the chance. Come to think it, she would have also known who Tyson really was. It only proved that Sally Jackson had a big heart if she helped Tyson despite being different, if you catch my drift. Close to the end of their conversation, Talia said, "It must be nice being a regular mortal." "Ah, don't be like that," Naruto said after firing another shot. "That would be boring." "If by boring, you mean safe, then I would take that any day," Talia said. "So, you regret meeting me?" Grover pouted and started bawling. "Or me?" Naruto decided to join in. "Ah, you guys," Talia said. "Alright, you got me. I guess being a demigod isn't so bad since I got to spend it with people like you. So, where would you like to land?" Hank asked once he was sure it was okay to cut in. Percy looked around. He took in the sights momentarily. It looked like a cleaner Manhattan surrounded by hills and fog. There was a huge bay filled with ships of all shapes and sizes and the Golden Gate Bridge sticking up the fog. "There." Zoe beat him to the bunch. "Right by Embarcadero Bridge." "Good thinking," Hank said. "We can blend in with the pigeons." That statement made Naruto sputter out a laugh, causing him to lose aim on the final target. The others looked at him with a deadpan expression. "Sheesh. I'm only kidding," Hank said. "Can't statues have a sense of humor? At least Blondie gets it." With that, the angels descended. It turned out there was no blending in needed. There weren't any people around save for one homeless man that they startled as they landed. Once all of them were on the ground, they waved goodbye to the angels, who went off to party with their other statue friends. Luna whimpered as the angels flew away. She wanted to do that longer, but Naruto just reassured her that they would be able to do that soon. Naruto turned to Zoe and raised a hand to his mother's lieutenant. "That was a close contest. I admit that you're better. I haven't had that much practice save for archery class at camp," Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Zoe studied the blonde. She was expecting some grumbling about she was lucky or it was the wind or something in the same light, but it wasn't the case. Perhaps his mistress's son was really different from other boys. Was she wrong to judge him based on his gender? Was he wrong to really generalize? Perhaps that would have been the case. She smirked at that. "You are not so bad, yourself. You just need more practice. It is a hunter's weapon, our first choice of weapon. Then, could you have to teach me sometime?" "Why not?" Percy smiled at the scene. He was happy for his brother. The boy had finally broken through the Ice Queen's icy exterior. Talia's words, not mine. Please don't tell Zoe. But then, it dawned on him, for the first time that day, he realized Fred, aka Apollo, didn't tell him where exactly to find Nereus. They were in the West Coast as the prophecy had said, but there was no Bane of Olympus that was supposed to show them the trail. They made it this far, but they didn't know what to do. "Let's approach this one at a time," Naruto said. "You said you need to find Nereus. But I don't even know where to start finding him," Percy reasoned. Old Nereus, eh? Zoe said. Since you're the son of the sea god, he should be easy to find. How do you know him? Naruto asked. Just trust me, she insisted. Come, I will show thee. She led her companions to a Goodwill Dropbox. Once Zoe started working, his friends couldn't help but snicker. Zoe outfitted him with a ragged flannel and jeans several sizes too big for him, bright red sneakers like you would see clowns wear, and a floppy rainbow hat. Luna tilted her head looking at the water boy. This new look confused her. That's accurate, Bianca said, trying to reel in her laughter. Oh yeah, you look completely inconspicuous, Grover said in the same fashion. Yes, like a typical male vagrant, Zoe said, feel proud with her handiwork. Gee, thanks guys, Percy grumbled. Explain to me again why I have to dress like this. I told thee, Zoe reiterated. It is to blend in. And with what you're wearing, you really do blend in. Naruto added. Percy still didn't look happy with Zoe's decision, but he still followed her along with the rest of the group. They spent quite an amount of time searching the docks. After a little while, they stopped in their tracks. She pointed down towards a pier where a bunch of homeless guys huddled close to each other in a blanket. They seemed to be waiting for the soup kitchen to open for lunch. Thou should be able to find him there somewhere, Zoe said. He never travels far from the water. He likes to sun himself during the day. How do I find out it's him? Percy asked. Think Percy, Naruto said. He is sea god. He should smell like the sea. And once I find him. He asked again. Grab him and don't let go, Zoe simply answered. He will try to rid himself of you. Whatever he does, stay strong. You can do it, Bianca cheered on. Yeah, we've got your back, Talia added until she found something sticking out of Percy's back, a big clump of fuzz. EWW, on second thought, I don't want your back. But we are rooting for you, Naruto added quickly. Luna barked happily, sending more positive energy to the boy. Grover gave him a big thumbs up to cheer him on. Yeah, really supportive friends. They watched as Percy stumbled down the docks like he was about to pass out. Well, it was easy since Percy didn't get to eat at the damn snack bar and he had to fight off a bunch of skeletons. Naruto sighed. I better stock up on clones gathering nature energy. With a few hand signs, Naruto summoned Gamatotsu, spooking his companions and a few homeless guys nearby. Luna also jumped as the human-sized toad puffed into existence. She eyed it warily. Yo, Naruto, Gamatotsu greeted with a salute. What did you need? Whoa, you've grown so much, Naruto said with wide eyes. Bah, you humans just grow slowly, the toad waved off his question. Anyway, what did you need? I need you to reverse summon 2 of my clones, Naruto asked. I expect things would get hectic in a few hours. I expect that I won't get time to gather nature energy. You got it, Naruto. Gamatotsu said, and he disappeared in a puff of smoke. What was that about? Bianca asked, not understanding the language the two used in their exchange. Naruto summoned 2 clones who suddenly disappeared a second later, then he turned Bianca and said, I don't sense much nature energy around here, so I had him summon my clones back to Mount Myoboku to gather it for our fight. Oh, all of Naruto's friends said, and Naruto just shrugged. They turned back to Percy. He was now wrestling a surprisingly fat homeless guy with a white beard that had turned yellow. They figured this was Nereus. All around them, the other homeless people were screaming and panicking. He was doing great for a while. That was until Santa ran into a post, hitting his head on a post. They winced for a second as they watched Percy's dazed expression. Nereus was about to jump into the water, but fortunately for them, Percy regained his composure and tackled him from behind. There was a brief exchange that led to Nereus jumping into the San Francisco Bay. For a second, Nereus had a look of horror on his face, like jumping in the water was a big mistake, but he morphed his expression to a challenging look, then he plunged into the sea. When he resurfaced, Percy was hanging onto was that a seal? Yeah, I guess it was. Where did the sea god go? Anyway, the seal thrashed around with Percy trying to hold onto the animal's sleek black skin. A moment later, the seal plunged into the water. If Percy were a normal human, he would have died long before they resurfaced, but since he was a son of the Earthshaker, he could do this all day. The next time they rose from the depths, Percy was grabbing onto the dorsal fin of a killer whale. Despite the situation, Percy managed to wave at the tourists. Go figure, ha ha ha. Well, Anyway, the both of them once again dove into the water for the final time that day. And the next time they came up, Nereus jumped out of the water and lay on the docks in a heap. Seeing this, the others ran down the steps of the pier and joined their teammate, who didn't even look tired in spite of the taxing activity he went through. Luna happily knocked him to the ground and congratulated him for the feat. Way to go, Percy. Naruto cheered as they made it to the homeless guys, but then he froze. Holy shit. Is that you, Santa? It's December. Shouldn't you be working? The rest of the group gave him a deadpan look. Well, Percy didn't anyway. It seemed that was the first thing that entered his mind as well. One could wonder if they really weren't related. Even Nereus glared at the blonde. No. You idiot. I am Nereus, the god of the sea. Well, I was until this half-blood's upstart father took the title from me. Naruto chuckled. Of course, I knew that. I was messing with you. Now then, Percy began. Nereus, I have a lot of questions for you. Only one question per capture. The Santa look-alike heaved one last time and looked at Demigod, who bested him. So, tell me, half-blood, tell me what you want to know. So, tell me, Demigod, what is it that you want to know? The old sea god's voice rang in Percy's ears as he tried to think of what information he wanted to get out of Nereus. He gritted his teeth in frustration. There was so much he wanted to ask, but only one question. His voice screamed Annabeth, but he somehow knew that the girl wouldn't like it if he used that single question to save her and not Olympus. Then, there was Naruto and Zoe. He knew they wanted to know about where Artemis was. In the end, he sighed. He had a sneaking suspicion that Artemis and Annabeth were in the same location, and he knew Naruto knows that too. All right, Nereus, Percy began, remembering the worried voice Chiron used to describe this monster. Tell me where the Bane of Olympus is. Where is the monster that Artemis was chasing? Upon hearing the question, Nereus gave him a creepy mossy green smile, then his shoulders began to shake as he roared out in laughter. What's so funny? Naruto demanded. Sorry, Demigod, only one question per capture, he said after calming down. As for the answer to your question, he right here. He pointed over down to the water. What are you? Talia didn't get to finish her question as Nereus cut her off. The deal is complete. He gloated, and with a pop, he turned into a goldfish and dove into the sea behind him. After that, everyone froze in their tracks as they heard the unlikeliest sound was heard. Well, everyone except for Luna, who started growling as the scent hit her nose. Moo. The distinct sound of a cow was heard by everyone in the group. Naruto and Grover's ears perked up, translating the words in their brain. The others were confused. They were expecting to hear that sound in the fields that they passed by earlier, not in the area of the bay. Luna peered over the edge and readied herself to pounce. Naruto urged his little pup to stand down. What is that thing? Talia asked, doing just as the puppy did. I'm guessing that's the damn cow, Naruto said dumbly, following her example. Percy, why is he calling out to you? The cow thing nudged the deck, gesturing the son of Poseidon to get down with him to the water. Percy knelt down to pet the cow thing on the head. Guys, this is Bessie. So, don't get mad at him, okay, Luna? She's a friend. I met her back at beach in camp and she followed us all the way to Hoover Dam. Did you say, Bessie? Bianca deadpanned at the name. You know he's a boy, right? Moo. The damn cow sounded as if echoing the young demigod's words. He says his name isn't Bessie, Perce, the satyr translated. You two can understand him. Bianca stared at the blonde and the satyr. Well, yeah, it's probably cause of the blood of Artemis flowing through me, Naruto tried to explain. This time, it's harder though, but I can get bits and pieces. He's using an ancient form of animal speak, Grover elaborated. He said that his name is the Ophiotaurus. What? Percy asked in confusion. I remember now. Naruto raised his voice in realization. Yes, the Ophiotaurus. Talia nodded. It means, serpent bull, in Greek, but what is it doing here? Moo. Bessie tried to explain. What did you do for it to call you his protector? Naruto asked the water boy. He says that he's running from some bad people, Grover continued. He says they're close. With that being said, Naruto perked up. His senses were going haywire. This was what he was trying to ignore earlier, trying to pass it off as nothing. Even Grover's nose twitched, suddenly sniffing a familiar scent. I have one question, though, Percy inquired. How did the both of you get all that in one moo? Everyone, including Bessie, sorry the Ophiotaurus, looked at Percy like he grew a second head. Did you really have to ask that now? Naruto asked. Sorry, Percy scratched the back of his head. Don't worry, Naruto chuckled. I was wondering that too. Wait, Zoe stopped the boys' ongoing conversation. You know this cow? Well, yeah, Percy said, and he told him the story of how he first met Bessie the Ophiotaurus. He told about how Blackjack woke early in the morning and flew him to the beach at the back of camp. Then, he told him about meeting the cow stuck in a net underwater. And you just mentioned this thing now. Talia shook her head in disbelief. Hey, a lot of things were trying to kill us. It didn't seem important at the time. Percy protested. I am a fool. Zoe berated herself. I know this story. The story of the Ophiotaurus. Naruto asked. The story about S.A. Naruto began, but Bessie started to panic at the mention of the S word. Percy calmed him down and urged him to continue. The old stories spoke of this monster. It is indeed the one we are looking for, Zoe explained. But he's too cute. Percy looked at his new friend sadly. How could he destroy anything? Naruto shook his head. That's not what the legends say. He won't bring down the gods that way. When he is Moo. The Ophiotaurus once again protested at the mention of the word. I'm sorry, you really don't like that word, do you? Naruto said, seeing a shake of Bessie's head. How could anyone, offer him up? Bianca asked. He looks so innocent. That's just it, Zoe said, eyeing the Ophiotaurus sadly. There is power in killing innocents, terrible power. The fates had ordained a prophecy, eons ago, when this creature was born. It is said that whoever offered his entrails to fire will receive the power to destroy the gods. Moooo. He once again panicked, this time at the mention of the new word. He doesn't like the word, entrails, too, Naruto said. Probably best if we avoided it too. But how do you get the power to destroy the gods? Talia asked in disbelief. No one knows, Zoe shrugged. In the first Titan War, they almost came close. Is that the one where Zeus's eagle stole that thing before it could get to the fire? Naruto asked. Talk about a close call. Zoe nodded. It was a close call indeed. And now, after 3,000 years, it is reborn once again. I am sure they would stop at nothing for this creature to be captured. Talia knelt to the pier and held out her hand. As if on prompt, Bessie swam forward to her beckon. She eyed the cow hungrily like she was considering the power that the lieutenant spoke of. Luna nudged her softly as if reading her thoughts. Then there's only one thing to do, Percy said. We have to protect him, especially from Luke. If he gets a hold of him. Talia turned to her friends and spoke up. He wouldn't hesitate. The power to overthrow Olympus, that's huge. Just then, the satyr's fears were confirmed. Now, he knew that the scent he was picking up was carried by the wind. The threat was indeed nearby. Oh, yes indeed, came a voice with a heavy French accent. And it is a power you shall unleash. Everyone whirled around to see who it was. It was an old enemy, Dr. Thorne. I must say, I am incredibly lucky to meet you all here. This is just perfect. How come you didn't sense him? Talia elbowed the blonde. He mixed himself well with the mortals, Naruto reasoned. It was him all right, but he kind of looked different. He was still wearing his Westover Hall uniform, but for some reason it was torn and stained. His military cut had grown up spikier and greasier than before, even his face had grown a silver stubble. He looked no better than the homeless people in the soup kitchen. Despite that, he still looked scary, not to mention, he also had a couple of mortal mercenaries at his sides. They were armed to the teeth. Long ago, the gods banished me to Persia. I was forced to, the Matacor began to explain, but Naruto cut him off. Cut the crap, Thorne. Naruto said. What do you want? Well, I was getting to that. Thorne yelled back. He then raised his hands. I will finally get the recognition I was deprived of for millennia. And I will start by capturing you. With that declaration, the two mortals at his sides raised the guns at them. It's nice to see you again, my dear Bianca, Thorne greeted. You have been hanging out with the wrong crowd. Have you learned nothing from Westover? I certainly didn't learn them from you. Bianca challenged. Why are you coming to get us yourself? Percy asked. Don't you have the skeletons already after us? He sneered. Bah, I don't need those foolish undead. The general thinks I'm worthless, eh? Well, I'll show him. You are welcome to try, Naruto said after exchanging nods with Percy. He knew what he was trying to do. Didn't we beat you once before? Ha, you can barely fight me with that goddess on your side, but now, she is, should I say, a bit preoccupied right now, so there will be no help for you. Thorne countered. Zoe inched her hands towards her bow, but Naruto stopped her. He too was feeling angry about what the monster was implying about his mother, but he reeled in his anger. Surprisingly, Zoe didn't resist. Barely. Really. Naruto raised an eyebrow. What a joke. You had to dive over a cliff to get away from us and now you say we barely fought you. Keep talking, Naruto Uzumaki. Thorne challenged. I was going to give you a swift death, but for opening your mouth, I will give you a slow death from my poison. You will not see Thalia achieve her great victory. Do not worry about your dog, she will find you in the fields of Asphodel, really soon. Percy tried really hard to reel in his curiosity this time. He wanted to ask what Thorne meant with his last statement, but he decided not to. This wasn't the right time to do so. What are you talking about? It was Thalia who asked. You have not seen the forest for the trees, my girl. The monster answers to your call. This is the reason why Lord Kronos gave you a second chance at life. You will sacrifice the Ophiotaurus and bring its entrails to the sacred fire on the mountain. For your 16th birthday, you will overthrow Olympus. No one dared to speak another word. It made perfect sense. In the summer, they played right into the Titan Lord's hands. They retrieved the golden fleece to revive the dying tree, but they inadvertently unleashed Thalia to the world. And now, here they were, 2 days close to her 16th birthday. She may very well be the one in the prophecy. It was all part of Kronos' plan. You know it is the right choice, and I know, you know it too. Thorne prodded further. It was only a matter of time. Thalia was stunned. She didn't know what to say. Here was power right in front of her, and the memories of herself and Luke cursing the gods resurfaced. She could finally get revenge for the gods' neglect. She could finally gain power to crush them underfoot. She could. Her thoughts were broken when he felt a comforting hand on her shoulder and another that gently took her hand. It was comforting. She smiled and met the blonde's eyes. Thank you, she said and looked at the Manticore defiantly. You're not getting me on your side, monster. Naruto smirked. Percy, now. Percy knew that smirk anywhere. He had seen it countless times in Yancy Academy. It was a sign that his friend had something planned. He nodded at the signal and waved his hands around. At the gesture, the water behind them bubbled and shot up in the air in a steady stream heading towards the ambush. The mortals were frozen. I don't know what the mist made them see, but they were stunned as they watched the water erupted like a geyser. Shoot them, you idiots. Thorne ordered only to get a shaky response from his minions. They raised the guns, but Naruto was already starting the next phase of his plan. He blazed through a couple of hand signs and gathered the chakra in his hands, transforming it to lightning nature. He added it to the water as it touched the mortal mercenaries, sending them through the shock of their lives. Nice. I like the lightning, Thalia complimented. Thanks, hee, Naruto grinned. Fools. Thorne bellowed as he shot off the wall that he scaled to avoid the water. Pathetic mortals. I'll do it myself. Luna growled and pounced at the approaching Manticore. Luna. No. Grover yelled in worry as the little puppy charged the much larger opponent, but as they watched what happened, the statement, "Big things come in small packages," was proven right in front of their eyes. Despite the puppy's small frame, she packed a punch when she met with the Manticore in the air. She rammed into the monster, causing him to fly back the way he came and land in a heap on his back. Not giving him time to breath, Luna was immediately on his chest growling. What was different now though was, like in the gas station in the beginning of their trip, her voice was deep and demonic, like it came from the depths of the underworld. The three boys should know, they literally went to hell and back. Whoa. That was cool. Bianca cheered. Luna looked at the others and yapped happily before returning to Thorne's throat, ready to bite if he made the wrong move. I admit, your little attack dog caught me off guard, Dr. Thorne muttered. Where do we find Annabeth and Artemis? Percy demanded. I believe you are not in the position to make demands, Thorne said evilly. What are you talking about? Thalia said. You're the one who has an attack dog at your throats. Oh, we'll see about that, Thorne smirked and then whistled. It was then that they heard guns clicking all around them. They were surrounded. Like I said, Thorne said. You barely fought me the last time and now, you don't stand a chance. Naruto grit his teeth. He was sure he sensed Thorne and a couple mortals arriving, but why didn't he notice the others? Were they hidden with magic? Or was the mist from Mount Tamalpay messing with him? Shit, Naruto muttered under his breath, causing Bianca to look at him with a scandalous look. He met her gaze and asked. What? It's nothing, Bianca said. It's just that from where I'm from the teachers would have washed your mouth with soap. Yeah, sorry about that. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Do you really have the time for banter, Naruto Uzumaki, Bianca D'Angelo? Thorne said from under Luna's foot. Do you not understand the situation you are in? Hand over Talia Grace and the Ophiotaurus now or else. Or else what? You'll let them shoot us? Naruto asked. Obviously, Thorne demanded. Now, come Talia. Yeah, how about no? Talia refused. Listen, to the girl, will ya? Naruto added, rolling his eyes. Geez, you got rejected once already. Talk about persistent. He is right, Naruto, Zoe said. What are thou doing? Buying time, of course. Naruto declared and raised a couple of smoke bombs. See ya later, losers. He threw the bombs to the ground and cloud of orange smoke rose from the ground. Really? Orange? Talia deadpanned as they ran. Come on, I know you like it, Naruto nudged the girl. What happened to being inconspicuous? Bianca asked. Then I'm the greatest ninja ever, if I can hide in broad daylight wearing bright orange. Naruto joked. Oh, he's good alright, Grover said, remembering the times in Yansei. You imbeciles. Thorne exploded with rage from within the smoke. They're over there. Shoot them. He pointed over to the roofs. The mercenaries took aim and fired. Bianca and Percy lagged behind to serve as shields from the bullets. Their aim was spot on, but they just bounced off harmlessly off of their coats. Gah! Must I do everything myself? Thorne bellowed. I will chase them. You idiots go to the sides and flank them. Thorne shot to the roofs and gave chase. That was a good plan, Percy said. But what are we going to do now? They are still after us. Those soldiers will be a pain if they manage to get in front of us and surround us again. Talia added. I'll handle this side, Grover said, playing a quick tune on his pipes as he ran. Zoe didn't say anything, but she drew 3 yellow arrows and took aim. I won't let you, Thorne said as a tail sprouted from behind his spraying spike towards them. Just like the bullets earlier, they just ricocheted harmlessly off their lion coats. Naruto and Talia just had to block a few stragglers. Zoe let her arrows fly, spraying sulphurous yellow smoke that surrounded the mercenaries trying to flank them on the right. They coughed upon breathing in the gas. It was just too much for them. Over on the left, Grover just finished playing his quick riff on his reed pipes. Vines and branches sprouted from the wooden planks under the mercenaries' foot as if the wood remembered they were once trees. That was good and all, but they were now running out of roof to run on. They jumped down and landed on the end of the pier. They hid behind a little kiosk selling souvenir crystals, dream catchers, and wind chimes that glittered in the sunlight. Right next to them, there was a water fountain, and down below, there were sea lions sunning themselves on the rocks. They could see the whole of San Francisco Bay sprawled in front of them. There was the Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz Island, and green hills and fog over in the distance. It was another view to admire. One that could best be admired when you were not about to die or when the world was going to end, whichever came first. Definitely, not like now. What are we going to do now? Bianca asked. You escape by the sea. Lead the monster to camp, Zoe told the water boy. We will fight him off. Yeah, Grover seconded. We have to get word to camp. That won't work, Naruto said. We tried that the last time, remember? It's okay, the said boy reassured his comrades as he eyed a water fountain that was conveniently right beside them. The water spraying was creating, yes, that's right, a rainbow. I have an idea, Percy said, slashing the water fountain, then went on to digging something from his pocket. I think I got one right here, got it. Talia flinched as the water hit them. Once she saw what the water boy was up to, she smirked. Percy, I never thought I would say this, but you're a genius. Ha ha, very funny, Percy rolled his eyes. Anyway, here I go. He threw the golden drachma he fished into the mist created by the spray. Oh goddess, accept my offering. He chanted. The mist rippled. Camp Half-Blood, he said. The mist shimmered again, and the questers didn't expect who they saw next. It was their lovable camp director, Mr. D, rummaging through the refrigerator in a leopard skin jogging suit. Do you mind? He looked up lazily from the fridge. Where's Chiron? Percy demanded. We're about to, MPF. Sorry about that, Mr. D, Naruto cut in. Pardon the hasty call, it's just that the Manticore and his minions are on our heels. Percy looked at the others. We're so dead. About to die, he mused. I'm afraid Chiron has some, things he has to attend to. And what are they exactly? Naruto asked politely, trying to hide the panic in his voice. I think he said to inform you when you return so as not impede in your little quest, Mr. D said. Should I take a message? We don't have time for this. Percy raised his voice, the irritation evident. My, is that a way to ask a favor, young demigod? Mr. D said uncaringly. So, what seems to be the problem? Well, other than the fact that we're about to die, you see, Naruto told him about Bessie the Ophiotaurus. Percy chimed in with his side of the story and how he appeared out of nowhere. And that's about it, Naruto finished the short version of the story. As he finished, they could hear Thorne's footsteps were heard from behind them. He was flanked by a couple of mercenaries. Now, I see you've given up on running, Thorne said as he stalked his prey. And you're back to square one, without any real help. He threw off his coat and the transformation into his true self began. His claws extended and the poison-spiked tails whirled in the wind. Talia sighed. Here we go again. See you guys in the underworld. Bianca shook in fear, hiding behind her friends who were standing the ground, weapons drawn. You know, I would gladly help, as long as Percy says please, Mr. D said from the iris message. Percy bit his lip. He looked hesitant to do what the god was asking. Well, given the two's track record, I wouldn't be surprised. He eyed his friends in his peripheral vision. Zoe and Bianca had their bows ready. Naruto had a couple of three-pronged kunai. Grover had his reed pipes ready. Luna wanted another go with the Manticore, but she held her ground. And, Talia had shield and spear drawn, but what was peculiar was she seemed reluctant to go through with the fight as indicated by the tear that fell down the side of her face. It was like she was in a situation like this before. Wait, she had been in this situation before, Percy thought, the information dawning on him. He, then, grit his teeth and turned to the panel of mist. Could you lend us a hand, Mr. D, please? Mr. D stared at him through the mist. At first, nothing happened. They were doomed. The mercenaries took aim ready to fire. But then, the wine god came through. There was a rush around the demigods, confusing them, a rush akin to when you suddenly turn right side up after hanging upside down for too long. This feeling was followed by a contented sigh. Then, the scent of grapes spread through the air until it turned sour. Snap. The questers turned back to their opponents. One was on the floor running on all fours like Luna. He came towards the group, sniffed Luna's behind, and ran away. The other one was waltzing with homeless guy that the group startled upon landing. Over and over and over. Thorne screamed bloody murder. Fine. I'll deal with you all myself. He charged the demigods who had lowered the guard after the weird situation. Before he could get to them though, grapevines erupted from the planks beneath his feet. He tore through the first few vines easily, but more and more tangled around him, sprouting new leaves and green baby grapes. A few moments later, the stalk of grapes stopped shivering. It was safe to assume that the threat has been neutralized. Well, that was rather fun, Mr. D said as he closed the refrigerator. But, how did you? Percy's question hung in the air as Naruto chimed in. Mr. D, you're the best. That was awesome. Naruto cheered. I don't know what we could have done without you. You best learn from Naruto over here, Mr. D smirked. That's what I call gratitude. Anyway, the mortal's conditions aren't permanent. I hate to write reports to father if I made it so. Talia grabbed Naruto's hand for support, which didn't go unnoticed. Naruto wiped the tears that were forming in her eyes and tried to calm her down. Now, girl, I hope you learned your lesson today. Power is hard to resist, especially if it's dangled right in front of you. Mr. D, you actually saved us. Grover finally got out of his shock. Don't make me regret it, Sata. Now, get going. I only bought you a few hours at most, Mr. D replied. Could you do something about the Ophiotaurus? Naruto added. Most certainly not. Mr. D looked offended. I do not transport livestock. That was worth a shot, Naruto shrugged. Thanks anyway, Mr. D, see you soon. But where do we go? Bianca chimed in. I think little Miss Zoe know, am I right girl? Mr. D said. Oh, you best hurry. You have to enter the garden at sunset today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a whole pizza to eat. Then, something else dawned to Percy. Hey, Mr. D. Did I hear it right? You called Naruto and me by our names. You are hearing things, demigod, Mr. D snorted. Of you go. It was chaos around them. Mr. D's magic was strong that even those that they left reeling in the fart arrows and those getting themselves free off of Grover's vines were affected. Now, they even started harassing the tourists, while others were having a conversation with the homeless guy about metal angels from Mars. Naruto looked at Zoe oddly. He said you know where to go. Her face was pale, but she hid it good. She gazed over to the Golden Gate Bridge and pointed over to the horizon where a single mountain rose up above a layer of clouds. There, our next destination, Zoe said. There is no hiding it now after all we've been through. It is time for you to know the truth about the story. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.